Cloud. Good evening. It is 6:03 Wednesday, September 11th. On this day, 23 years ago, the crazy terrorist attack happened on our land, on our citizens, and I just wanted to take a moment real quick just to stop and say, never forget the aspects of what we've been through as a country. May we model the unity and resourcefulness and resilience that in this community that our nation as a whole continues to show. So it is September 11th, and I just wanted to make sure for myself and for others that we keep that top of mind. It is, like I said, 6:03. We have a quorum. Alfredo is on Zoom. I have Diana here in person. And we have, I believe Alan is flying right now, so he's not going to attend. And Joao, I thought was going to attend, but I don't see him yet. So we'll just get started. Call the meeting to order. Check. Determination of quorum, yes. Approval of minutes of the meetings. Alfredo sent those through. So for July 30th and August 14th, I make a motion to approve those. Diana seconds, so we are good there. Treasurer report. Joao did send that through. Yeah.
I could send him a quick.
Oh, hello.
It looks like he's struggling to connect.
That's what, oh, did he write?
Yeah, he wrote, I could connect but couldn't hear. He's in. I'll ask him. You don't see him there though?
No.
I think I arrived. I was here like 5 minutes before 6.
I arrived right at 6, and then he started at 6:03.
Yeah, I was connected.
He saw you connected to Zoom, so he thought you were
Yeah.
just taking it from your home.
No, I actually sent on a text message.
I just saw now, yeah, there are quite a few messages here.
So the meeting is
Oh,
open.
meeting is open. I can go back and reiterate. I won't reiterate the whole thing, but it just started off with, it is September 11th, 23 years ago. We were attacked. May we show the resilience and unity and resourcefulness in this community that has been shown throughout this country. At 6:03, I called the meeting to order. We have a quorum with Alfredo, Diana, and myself here in person. Alan will not be able to attend, and Joao is trying to log in. Diana and I did vote to approve the July 30th and August 14th meeting minutes that you sent through, Alfredo.
To make an amendment there because the minutes from the 30s are the construction meeting minutes. So we are addressing July 24 and August 14.
Okay, just the date is different.
Just days.
Okay.
We don't have meeting minutes for 7:30. There are.
You know, we have it and we actually have it on YouTube, and I think that I'm going to proceed with the minutes of the construction.
Written, okay.
So, just for the members.
So did you want to remake the motion? The 7:24 meeting minutes?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve 7:24 and 8:14 meeting minutes that Alfredo sent through. Perfect, so those are approved. Joao is trying to log in. Let me skip over treasurer's report right now, give him a couple minutes to, oh, maybe he's there. I just admitted someone. Joao, is that you? Hello, hello.
Hello, Robert. Can you hear me now?
We hear you now.
Perfect, perfect. Now I can hear you and you can hear me. Perfect. I couldn't hear anything the last time I entered.
Okay, maybe I
Perfect.
hadn't officially started yet and was still muted. I don't know.
Okay, perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank
You
you.
actually came in perfect timing. We just got to the treasurer's report. Do you need a minute or should we go to a new topic?
Please go to another topic and I'll just read it in 5 minutes, okay?
Okay, no problem. I'll go to the
Perfect.
next
Thank you.
item on the agenda, and that is updates on roof. Let me pull something up. We had so the updates where we are at is the we had a pre-construction meeting. I guess that was the 30th. And so that took place. We had the roofer here and members of the board. And then what the roofer needed to do was go to the city of North Miami Beach, submit a change of contractor form, which requires a 10-day waiting period in order for the prior contractor to have the opportunity to sign over the form. That did not happen. And so when the roofer went back to North Miami Beach, he sent us an email. And it was stated that North Miami Beach could not find the paperwork. And so there was some discussion there about what exactly happened, but long story short, the 10-day waiting period needs to recommence or has already recommenced. And so that puts us through to, I believe it's September 20th as the next deadline for the 10-day waiting period. And so up until that point, no work will be done. But come September 20th or September 21st, then those plans are reviewed. That goes to that stage of the process. City has the opportunity to provide input, any changes, any recommendations. And then contingent on that review determines whether they can start already on removing the old flat roof. If there's major changes, those will need to be discussed. If there's minor changes, the city might give the approval to just go ahead and get started and modify as we go. So we don't know yet exactly whether or what that looks like, but what we do know is September 20th is the new deadline, which delays us a little bit, but we believe it's wise to not try to push the city to examine why they lost the paperwork or anything like that. Just let the new deadline happen and then go from there, because we will need the city as a partner throughout the stage of the whole project. In terms of the actual roof project, that's the primary update. Any questions, any comments?
Anything that can happen in those 10 days that could change that plan? Or this
If the old contractor signed the form, then in principle, yes. Yeah, I mean, the likelihood of them signing that, I think, is very small, but if for some reason they were to sign that, okay, we signed the project over to the new roofer, then that maximum 10-day waiting period is null and void? Good question. In fact, I hadn't thought about that because I was just expecting,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, let me, Joao, are you ready or you want more time? I can go to the next topic. Not a problem.
Yes, please go to the next topic because I'm still in my phone. I need to open my computer because I was driving. Okay.
Okay, no problem. Just come unmute when you're ready.
Perfect. Thank you.
The next topic is number 6. Discussion about having existing balcony enclosures permitted for affected units in order for roof work to proceed and attorney's response. We did get a response today at about 3:30. I didn't see it till about 5:30. I was doing other stuff. I did send a response back to them asking for clarification. The question is this. Well, and let me tie this back into the roof update. We are trying to go simultaneously or parallel process with getting enclosures legalized, permitted, and the roof project done. In an ideal world that goes step by step together, but we are not submitting anything right now to the city for enclosure permitting to not complicate matters until we get a clarity on that we have the green light for the roof project. The question that came up in terms of the enclosures was there's the initial engineering aspect where the owners had paid the prior contractor. I believe that most of them paid $5,000 in order for the prior contractor to legalize, permit, construct. What we as a board decided prior to that or not prior to that, after that, more recently, was those owners paid that $5,000 on behest from the prior board to the contractor, that we would cover the initial $5,000. Now, the thing that has come up from the new engineer looking at the construction after things were opened up was there'll need to be some changes. If it's going to be legalized, permitted, it needs impact windows, other things like that. That is not at the cost of the association. That would be the owner expense. And the challenge that we have is the timing of the owners initiating their work in order to be able to close off and legalize the enclosures while having North Memory Beach sign off on the whole project. And so the discussion that we were having before as a board was, to what extent is it wise? Is it feasible? Is it appropriate? All of those things together, that we initiate those repairs to keep the project on task and then on track, and then essentially bill the owner back the cost of those things. There's pros and cons as I see it on this, and I guess I'm really open for discussion. The lawyer's response was based upon our bylaws and what that exactly looks like. And so I don't know if you all had a chance to read that, but I wanted to know your thoughts.
On my side, Robert, I still didn't have the time to read the email. You're talking about an email that must have arrived today, correct?
Yeah, about 2.5 hours ago, 3:30 p.m. Eastern.
I didn't read it.
I think it's very responsible from our lawyers since I see Robert send that email on September 6th, a week ago, and even reminded as of today, early in the morning, and he replied in the afternoon that he was on the doctor. That is inexcusable for a person that is working for the community for the best interest. I think that in that case,
I was frustrated.
it is completely nonsense. And those things that are actually in the declaration, we can actually pull out and read it, but we need an interpretation. We need a frame, a legal frame in order for us to get it. Previous board, they were very precise on getting this documented, because one thing is that we need to make sure that whatever is being said and is being proved here, we need to actually make sure that we follow. So the $5,000 that the unit owners pay in order to cooperate with the association and with the contractor, that needs to be understanding that it was a separate contract. And we need to actually translate it to all members of the community that we are trying to work in a gesture of solidarity in order to make sure that we are helping that unit owners that actually put their money in order to do part of the construction. I understand, like this is no, $5,000 doesn't cover much of the stuff. I don't know nowadays how much this is it, but it's more than $5,000. So for me, it's very important and it's critical to keep the transparency to all members, not to the board, is to understand that all the members, the unit owners that actually get into that situation, get their proof of a payment. And we need to actually submit this because this is not only our money, it's everybody's money.
Right.
So my opinion might differ from mine, and we're not gonna try to be selfish or unreasonable or sensitive with the situation. But we need to make sure that we have a fiduciary responsibility, that we need to keep everybody informed and to understand what we're gonna do with this money. Those steps that we are actually trying to manage, I think that is a very, very risky, and therefore we have past history on where the previous lawyer sent a documentation, because I actually got that documentation where the association is basically telling that you are on default, you are actually have an illegal structure that is your responsibility, not the association responsibility, and you need to actually fulfill those requirements in order for us or for the association to proceed with the mayor's repair. So this is upon every and each unit owner. So the agreement was to follow up, to make an agreement, to actually have a contract, because the contractor actually have a personal contract with every unit owners, and this is actually between them. This has not bind us as association. So we can say at this point, we're not gonna take responsibility, but we are Samaritans and we want to make the best action, we're going to do that. This is something that for me needs to be clear and transparent, not to all of us, to everyone, because this is important.
I agree. So let me ask you
showing
this.
the approval of all the receive and all the transfer, because I know that in building 2 and 3 are 4 typical cases. I know there was an issue prior to the agenda point where 2 units are going to be discussed and not the other. So I really would like to understand what is the solution that you did to those 2 other units that we don't want to mention for whatever reason, because we need to actually be transparent. And we need to understand that if that comes to a resolution, we need to understand how we're going to do it and how they're going to come up with it doesn't come back later.
So let me ask you this, and I agree on the transparency, and that's good you say that. How should we communicate that to the community?
Well, I think that we need to discuss, we need to actually, I think that the lawyer, it's also, a person that it's not only have to give us, like last minute, like 2 part of the bylaws
Bylaws.
in order for us to digest. They need to give us the legal guidance and the frame for us to be precise on what we're gonna say, because these have to be translated to all the members, in my understanding. So until we don't have clarity of what we're gonna proceed, because everything that you guys are doing, like, or thinking of, that we're gonna put a link, where is the legal frame that is going to guarantee that based on the culture of this community, things can be changed. And I'm gonna show you a proof of that. And later on, the link, it's not going to be effective. It's going to be modified by other board members that perhaps have conflict of interest, and then everything is kind of like loose. And then what is the responsibility that we're gonna have in front of all the members? So this money needed to be consciously, like,
No, and I agree. And
Thought out,
my point is,
because
I don't have,
it's not
I don't
my
have
money,
a
it's
direction
everybody's
one
money.
way or the other. I
Okay.
want the legal advice
Okay.
before any decision is
but
made.
that doesn't happen today because this
Exactly.
doesn't say anything.
Exactly.
So for me, it's a clear point
We
that
don't make any decision tonight.
we don't make any decision tonight, but there is a,
Legal advice that's
Yeah.
appropriate, it sounds
yeah, but there is a law that we need to discuss, because those 4 units has history, has characteristics, and I need to go point by point, because there's nothing, like they said on the email, Alan said on the email, we are not going to, enter into the details. We need to actually get as much explanation as possible, because we want to sleep at night, clear well that we have, and we did best we could out of our best knowledge.
And my worry is that the details is where a lot of the legal things lie, right? There's a lot of legals.
Yeah.
And my one other point that I thought of was, let's say it costs us, the association, X amount of dollars. I understand that you could place that lien for X amount of dollars on that unit, but why is the association providing an interest-free loan
Right.
for a repair to a unit? None of the rest of the units got that
Yeah.
advantage, right?
And that's why.
And it's not being selfish, it's
No.
being, like.
No, I agree. And that's why it's like, we can't rush into a decision on this.
We have to legally understand.
Yeah,
what-
And
get
the
the full,
And the project cannot be jeopardized and cannot be, a point of excuse, as always, last minute that decision, because we, from the very beginning, when we were doing the RSP, we actually segmented and we say the enclosures, because all the licensed contractors that came here and bid on the project, they actually said, let's leave the enclosure for later. We can find ways to work around and make sure that we cover the most part
Mhm.
of the waterproofing
Yeah.
mansards, and then we go back, because this is gonna take a while. So this cannot be now parallel or before the roof, because then we are going in a different direction. So I think that we need to pay attention to that. I know that I'm not going to be on the coordination of the constructions, but this is very critical for you guys to do. Not only that, I think that this lawyer or somebody else more prepared needs to actually give us a better advice, because I feel like we are in a deep waters, and we don't know exactly how we're gonna face this problem. So
Yeah, so since we don't have full knowledge, insights into that, let's go ahead and delay 0.6 in terms of decision.
But Robert,
Yes,
if I may, I believe that all these points are very important. I just want to tell that I believe there are 2 different things that needs to be addressed. We're not going to have answers for neither. One is, in fact, what Alfredo was just mentioned, that for everybody that we interviewed, it looked like there was always a path to get our roofs, not in a parallel or sequential, but get our roof solution. And then whenever we're going to have the solution for the enclosures, we would end up whatever was needed there. So that for me is a path that we need to address with the roofer. The second one that we need to address with this, I hope with his attorney, but with whoever can give us the right support, is how are we moving forward with everything that needs to be done for the enclosure? Are we going to be the ones doing the work? Are we going to be the ones doing the payment? Are we going to force legally the entities or our neighbors to do it? And I would separate these two things, because one is a conversation we need to have with the roofer. The second one is a conversation we need to have with legal to understand how we go from point A to point Zeta. Because if we have a nice conversation with the roofer and we understand there is a path that is not compromised by the point 2, then we are more free on the point 2 in terms of timings, not to run over anything, just to get us to a fast solution. And that was something that was mentioned by all the contractors. So 2 different conversations, 2 different topics. And I believe the success in the first one might get us also a better sense of not urgency on the second, because I agree with what was said, that whenever we go for the urgent mode, we commit errors. So I would prefer to have those 2 conversations in separate, if you guys agree.
And I think we're all aligned with that, with what Alfredo said, Diana as well. So we pursue those conversations and don't make any decisions tonight. So Joao, I see you. You ready for the treasurer report?
I'm ready for the treasury report. Thank you so much, and sorry. I was trying to connect from my phone. In the beginning, I couldn't, and now I can. So now I'm not gonna see you because I'm turning to, I couldn't print here in Portugal. So first point, enumerate bookkeeping. We already received the July financial statements. We are now waiting to provide some elements that were requested for August. And then they are going to close August. And we also send an email as it was agreed, because we had a meeting with Enumerate, with Vishnu, and talking about maybe some changes that were needed for our statements. So what we said, me and Robert, we sat with Vishnu and we wrote some topics about questions that we had. The first one had to do with breaking down the maintenance cost, because right now we have an excessive maintenance cost, because everything that is not inside of pool maintenance or electricity or water wasting, etc., they have put in maintenance, meaning Surf Pro, meaning 911 restoration are there. So at the end of the day, what we are requesting is a discrimination of those costs. And then Vishnu immediately said, okay, we can go for 2 routes. We can create sub ledgers where we would put these costs so we guarantees complete transparency, or we create parallel, because we have approved not only a part of our budget for example, for the RFP, another part of the budget for the 50-year certification, another part of the budget for everything that has to do with water intrusion and everything that needs to be repaired. And that would guarantee that each one of the layers would have different costs. And by the way, this also help us to identify which are the costs for the legal suit we are pursuing. So we would have clarity and transparency in all of the avenues of the cost. If we have everything concentrated in maintenance, obviously will not happen like that. So an email was sent copying everybody, and we still didn't have an answer. So once again, I sent an email today to Vishnu and the other person that was mentioned by Vishnu, that he was going to be the person to support that. Not only on the breakdown of the maintenance, but the second topic that was rose, like we talked in the last meeting, is that part of the costs we are having this year are related with expenses that were contracted last year. And I want to mention at least 2. Surf Pro, the intervention of November was not hired by this board, and it was almost $40,000, the final invoice after being negotiated. And then we received a ton of invoices from Primex that had nothing to do with costs related with 2024, but it has been costs incurred in 2023. At least these 2 are over $40,000 that are now being allocated to 2024. That is not from the 2024. Nobody took these decisions this year. So we put this topic to Vishnu. It was relatively conservative. He said, okay, yes, we can put it back. And we are also waiting for the report from the auditors. And the report will tell us obviously things regarding these, and I hope so. So we can put it back, but he told us also that many times the auditors then asked us to put back in the current year that the expenses were incurring. So he said that the most important there, once again, is to guarantee transparency in our accounts, so we don't see even more money spent this year that was nothing to do with the administration that we are doing right now. Both of these topics are now being followed up with enumerate, and obviously no decision will not be taken outside the board. So we're just getting information to make a proper decision there. And whenever we have that information about the maintenance, and then we start to identify which are the specific topics that have nothing to do with 2024, but should be allocated in 2023, we're going to discuss and take a decision on that. Any question before going to the delinquency from enumerate?
No.
Okay, perfect. The second point that I want to mention is the delinquency report that we can take out from the enumerate page. And so right now we have 16 unit owners in arrears. It might sound a lot, but what happens is that we are on the 11th of September, and obviously arrears is considered in the beginning of the month. So what the important part is that we reduce slightly the overall figure to 30,938.44. This is in the report, but only 2 units, which by the way are the units we already put the pre-lien, are accounting for 59.3. Not only that, the majority of these values, by the way, all of these values besides these 2 units have not values in arrears for more than 90 days. So these are short-term debt. So all the positions of those units that had arrears that were getting more than 60, 90 days have been taken care. There were at least 3 of them that were starting to be problematic. They were taken care. And so right now we have people that are owing this month, the current month of September, plus the 2 problematic situations that are as problematic. And this would be my second point, that we need to look at what is going to happen right now, because it's very serious, but it's obviously a train that already left the station. So before going to point number 2, any question about the delinquency? By the way, the delinquency report can be seen in enumerate. Anybody that would like to see from the board the delinquency, I will send it. It's a very simple PDF that is generated. And once again, $30,000, slightly less than last month, with almost 60% getting only on these 2 units, which are a huge amount of money for just 2 units. And then the remaining are just like a maintenance fee, and there is like 1 or 2 that has something over 60 days, but it's like some of the units have like one special assessment that falls over 60. So nothing that I can see problematic. And by the way, we've been seeing, besides the 2 units of the pre-lien, everybody's been communicative, they talk, some complain, etc., but they have been engaged, which is absolutely critical when we are in a process of arrears. And thank God there was no more 90 days or plus arrears, and even the 60 days arrears are very insignificant. Any question on this topic or comment?
No,
Now, what I'm going to say is very serious, and this is recorded. So we follow up with our attorneys, because remember, we have 2 units that receive letters, they receive emails, they receive conversations, calls, text messages, and we are not getting any response from these 2 units. So the next step was a pre-lien letter. This pre-lien letter was sent by our attorneys according to what they consider the next step on the collection process. And the other day I was emailing the entire board to ask Robert to get to our attorneys and understand what is the next step. And what the answer, the LP attorneys, the Leeward Point attorneys, and I'm going to read what is in the report. LP attorneys were contacted to understand next steps related with the 2 pre-lien letters that have been sent to the two delinquent homeowners by Leeward Point condominium associations, and there have been no payments until now. So we continue not to have any payment from these two units. So the LP attorneys have answered that they have recorded claims of lien against the properties, and the next step is to file lien foreclosure proceedings. This is very serious. They will send correspondence and the appropriate documents when the lien foreclosures are to be filed, and that should be mid-September. We are getting to mid-September. We are now on 11th of September. And obviously the train already left the station, because when the previous letter that was sent by the attorneys gave a period, I believe, of 45 days. That 45 days is now coming back on the 15th, or in the between the second and the third week of September. So that's why I say the train has already left the station, and it's not even in our hands. Now it's a legal procedure. And so I don't know if there are questions and comments. This is obviously beyond my jurisdiction as a treasurer, but it is what it is, and unfortunately, this is not very good news for some of our neighbors, for these two neighbors. Any
No,
question or?
I just want to comment that the current board went above and beyond in terms of providing an opportunity for those two owners to make payments. It was not just a systematic process. There were phone calls, I believe there were emails or messages sent, communications with those two owners, letting them know in case they did not know prior to initiating the legal process. Those owners were made very clear what would happen. And I think, you know, at that point, you know, sort of going back to Alfredo's earlier point, the transparency component, that equal and fair component is we did what we could, and when those owners didn't respond, we had to take that to the next step.
So not even showing a willingness to do the payments, to make a payments?
There was, oh, yeah, well, I don't want to get into the details, but because I didn't personally, I wasn't the one speaking with them, but there was a positive response as if, oh, we will take care of it. And then,
Unfortunately, no action.
then no action.
And then emails, texts, and let me tell you, from banking, one of the critical things is people to be engaged whenever they are. We had other owners that were engaged, or contact Oscar, made questions, etc. And in here, it's all very passive. It's like, and even when right now are not even answering. And so unfortunately, the train, whenever we started the process with the attorneys, now it's the attorneys. So whenever they do these foreclosure procedures, we are going to be part of the process. I don't know if we need to take or not a decision, but now it's like the attorneys leading, and then whenever we need to be called, they're going to call us. So it's a legal procedure more than anything else. And once again, if you do the calculations, we're talking about 60% of this $30,000 only in 2 units. So it's already a very big amount of money that is being owned, not only in special assessment, but also in maintenance fee. So it's unfortunately, it's starting to amount to a very relevant amount.
We have certified letters with a signed receipt that shows that date delivery, those letters, those reminders.
The lawyer sent those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first letters were still sent by Primex. We received those letters, the confirmation of those letters still from Primex. Then there was the sending of the letters of communication from the pre-lien letters from these ones. But before of that, emails, texts, calls, conversation, both in English and Spanish, and no reaction. We know that one of the units is not even being abitted, so that there's nobody there, and we know it's a problematic unit in terms of, I think, area. I don't want to enter in details, but I think there's some legal issues there. But the other one, no, it's somebody that lives in the neighborhood, so probably it's just a struggling economic. But once again, even in terms of educational, everything can be settled and discussed if people want to sit on the table. And I believe everybody had credits in their lives, etc. And the worst thing is when you don't negotiate or talk, etc. So everything can get to a solution if people want to be engaged on discussing the solution. So if it's just putting the hand in the sand, then there's nothing we can do. It's like we are obviously open as a board, I believe, to discuss all of these solutions. I am as a treasurer, and I believe everybody here is completely human to engage on this negotiation discussion, but the other side needs to come to the table, as obvious. It's not us that we're going to do a payment plan if that was not even requested by the people in arrears.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, then the next point is the third on the second special assessment loan status. So right now what is happening is that we are starting to use the credit line and no additional loan advance was requested during August. Remember, we did the first one to make the first payment. Nothing ever has happened on August. So we keep the value that we had in July, 103,000, something around that $1,000 that was paid, that was invoiced and paid, and there was the transfer from the credit line to our current account, and we paid, but this was still July. On the auditing process, me and the president, we held another meeting with the auditor to review last day the information request on August 16. We follow some of the steps. So we went, or I went, and thank you so much. And I want to do a personal thank you to Michael. Michael is not even one of the homeowners, but he had the kindness to open the door, and I was there with him. So I went to all the boxes from Primex, and it's written that they were disorganized and completely unstructured, meaning that some of the boxes were 2022, 2023. They jump from different topics. So it's like a chaos in terms of reporting. What was done is that I've scanned the majority of the documents we could find, or I scanned all the documents that we found on invoices, on electric boards, on the steel, the Durolast and Absolute Pro, etc., and all the invoices besides of those ones that we could find among these. I digitalize everything. I put it so you can have access to all of this documentation in our share folder. There's a share folder that is called Collaboration Space. We all have access. And within that, we have one subfolder. And I also send an email that you are also copied there saying, look, this is every invoice that we could find, scanned, etc. You're going to see it's a awful PDF. Some of them are like a beginning of invoices. And then we see another one that talks about another thing, but it was almost impossible. I was there probably hours and losing a lot of kilos because at the end of the day, it was very hot. Probably we need to put an air conditioning there. And it was a very hot night. And we put all of that. We are now waiting for news from the auditor. I want to thank Alfredo Soares, Lisa Sadler, and Mark Antonio, and myself. I don't want to thank myself, but all of us have completed the requested information as previous members of the board. So Lisa and Mark were members of the board last year. I was member for part of the last year, the first half. Alfredo was a board member on 2022, and there was a questionnaire. Thank you so much for everybody to fulfill this questionnaire. Once again, it's a matter of transparency, and I think it's very, very good that we have these people answering. All of these questionnaires are also in the collaborative space, so the auditors could read them. Unfortunately, we had much more members of the board that have not reacted to the email of Robert, unfortunately. And any question or comments about the auditing process and where we are?
No.
Okay. Now, additional decisions that have been taken until now. So like every month, and Alfredo, could you please also add this to your minutes? So right now the system gets us all the checks that we have signed during a month, from the first day to the last day, all the checks, all the vendors, so everybody can have transparency about all the checks we've been passing. And I always send you, so since May, June, July, and now August, you're going to have this report. And I think after the treasury report, we can put it there because then it's completely transparent, all the checks. Are all the checks, meaning the ACH payments and the direct payments are not there, but that those can be seen directly on the Valley statements, which are also obviously available to everybody in the community. So if you could have, and once again, you're going to see those checks that were there. And now finally, to discuss and decide on September 11, we have taken the decision last meeting that we were going to do the calculations of how much money we had, how much money that has been transferred to our accounts, to the people that have paid the special assessment full. I did all those calculations. I asked our bookkeeping for the list of people that by the way, this is Manella, so she's in the other side of the room. She's also a owner, so she's listening to the call. So I asked Oscar, then I received the list and I went for Valley Bank for all the accounts. I went to see and I found another person that have paid the special assessment. So I sent an email to Oscar. We had a very hard conversation with Vishnu, that is the main responsible for enumerate. Anytime we have any type of number that doesn't match reality, and you've been seeing some of the tone of my emails towards enumerate. I don't believe we should be friends of our vendors. We should get all the quality that the vendors that we deserve as a neighborhood. I was not happy when one of the owners that have paid in May full were not reported by Oscar, so I told him that. Then we had another homeowner that said, I already paid the special assessment 2 months. I asked Oscar to review. Oscar was asking for more and more things. I went to Valley Bank and immediately I found, I said, look, it's here. Then it was, once again, it looks like a lockbox deposit mistake from Valley. It is what it is, but what I asked enumerate is that we need to have completely certainty of all the figures we have. So related with these, I sent an email and I already have the approval from Robert, but I need the approval at least of another person, that we should pay to Valley Bank for the first special assessment. It has nothing to do with the second one, which by the way, didn't even convert to a loan, 123,169.07. This is the money that the owners that paid already everything up front already gave to us, and we should use it to pay the loan, especially because if we don't use it, the loan, though the interest rate is a low 3.5, owns a 3.5 rate. And on our side, it doesn't give us anything right now because we are still managing the float to make, to do all the expenses. I don't know if you're going to pay the enclosures. I don't know how much is going to be the drywall. So at the end of the day, we have to maintain. So once again, paying 169 of the loan. And that means also that I went to the operating account and I saw that 40,516.97 is also in my report, needs to go from the operating account to the special assessment, because this was the money that people still paid through the operating account. So there's money in the operating account that should have gone before of April, that should have gone to the special assessment when everything was created properly to have a completely separation between the operating account. So I'm doing the motion to pay $123,169.07 after transferring 40,516.97 from the operating to the special assessment, and then we pay that 133,000 and some dollars to the first loan, which means that obviously the monthly payment will also be reducing from 6,800 to something lower. Do I have somebody to second this motion? Or by the way, before second the motion, any question or comment? I sent an Excel with all the calculations. I don't know if you had the chance to see it. Any question or comment?
No.
Do we have somebody to second the motion?
So I second the motion.
Anybody against it? So we have 4 people in favor. Okay, so I'm going to transfer once again 40,516.97 from our operating account to the special, and then out of the special, we're going to do a special check to Valley Bank, paying 123,169.07. Okay, the second point is we were talking about allocating money to money market. I would put these on hold on. we still have good money on the side, but with everything I'm hearing from the enclosures, everything I'm hearing from the things on the drywalls, etc. We could put like 50,000, but for the money we are going to get on interests, which by the way, right now is like 3.25 per year. I would prefer to maintain a conservative amount on the operating account, which right now is around 160, plus the money we have on the money market, instead of starting to move money. And remember, we are still paying a lot of insurance until the end of the year, and not jeopardizing and suddenly being stretched on money in any time. So I would do the first part. If you want me to do a conservative allocation to money market, I'm also open to that, and I could do like a proposal on that. But I would say with the level of uncertainty, and especially last month, and you're going to see in August, that was the month that NV5 were paid, and a lot of extra things that were done during the month, from the plumbings and some of the protection of the roof. So it was a very expensive month. So I would recommend to hold on for a while until we have more certainty of the money getting in, and then we will do another allocation for the money market, if you agree. But if you want, also we can do some calculations.
I'd say hold off on the calculations. Let's just get through this next period, and then we can always revisit that.
Perfect, thank you. And that was all for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joao. Let me get back to the agenda. Seven, update on roofing materials and parking area. So there, so there's a couple things. I made a listing online listing to try to sell it. I don't know if that's going to be effective or not, but the second part that may be beneficial, maybe being the keywords, is the cement boards. So on the soffits, Alan had a couple contractors come look around, and they recommended using cement boards instead of wood underneath the soffits. And he's like, well, we have cement boards. And so they said there's likelihood that we could use that. So if that is the case, then that might help us a little bit. But that's a question of whether it's still good, whether it's whether that's the path we want to take, and et cetera, et cetera. So
if the contractors that do the soffit are willing to put their warranty on,
correct.
you know what I mean? Like if that in some way.
It would need to be a comprehensive whole, right.
Mark, the contractor that was interested to get the PVC, told me that the cement board in particular has so much contraction that right now, if you actually, like open one panel, you will see that mildew and everything will crack easily. So for that comment and for the way I see it, because visually you can see that there's mildew growing. So I won't jeopardize to put these materials
and that's
back on that. And this is the same principle of where we're having, because
and I agree, and I don't know if there's a difference between that and the cement board that's still packed. But
no, this is insulation.
I'm sorry, yeah, you're right.
This is styrofoam, and the ones that are wrapped are the cementitious board, which is the one that are not in good condition. So
Yeah, and
did you explore the possibility of selling as a bulk? Like
I put it for 45,000, everything.
No traction
no,
yet.
No, yeah.
So,
Ideally,
yeah.
someone just comes and takes it off our hands, and then we just deal fresh with everything. Point number 8, 50-year recertification update.
Before the point number 8, just let's inform the board and everybody received this email, but you're in the meeting, so I'm seeing it So we just received the answer from the attorney on 11:42 p.m. saying correct. And this was, and I already read now the emails. So this was about the question that Robert did. Alexis, thank you for the information. If I understand the second part correctly, we could do the repairs and then pass the costs on to the owners, correct? And the answer that came from the other side was correct. So I'm not saying that we're going to follow these, because like Indiana was saying, this has also costs, even costs of financing, because we would have to have the money stopped until we have the collection. But at least we have that option open by our attorney. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. And I agree with what everyone has said. We're not making any decision tonight. We need to, I don't want to base everything on a one-word answer. But thanks for letting us know that that came in. 50-year recertification.
As we approach to the 150 days of an extended period from the day of recertification submittal, we had requested on September 9th to our engineer on records, MB5, a sign and seal letter requesting to the city of North Miami Beach an extension for 6 months, stating that the property is structurally and electrically safe for continued use and occupancy, while we're finishing the roof on building 2 and 3 and address the reporter's deficiency. I was there and I talked to the clerk, and she required to have this sign and seal letter. They are going to send it through email, but I also request to have a sign and seal copy, hard copy, that they can deliver it to the office. I don't know if there's going to be a cost involved in that, but I say better to have both way, email, electronic files, and also hard copy, because nowadays they are losing all this information, and we don't want to actually hang up on what the contractor was actually having.
Agreed.
So, and I also request a hard copy for our records to keep it on our file. And to recap on the engineer report, we have the following report. The electrical part, the electrical panels and the thermograph tests are passed in all the residential buildings and the clubhouse. Parking lot illumination meets the requirements on building 1, 4, and clubhouse. Building 2 and 3 are still pending for this illumination report due to the roofing construction, because we don't have the lights on top. Pending items to repair. The metal cover panel for the electrical gutter is missing on the building 3. That's one of the report on the engineer's report. The structural part, building 1, unit 1, 2, and 3, balcony stucco cracks at the bottom and corners to be repaired. That's what it shows on the pictures. Building 2, unit 19, the shutters metal slab is loose and needs to be reattached. Building 3, unit 29, settlement cracks in CMU wall and a storage and covered patio needs verification for building permit. This is an issue, and this is something that we, as a board, we need to send a letter, especially to unit 29 and unit 35, because on the report is clearly stated that they need the verification of the permit on those enclosures. So
What was the crack on 29?
on 29, so on top of the corner where they have the new entrance door on the side, on top, there is like a steps, and that's what's for the drilling for the CMU cells filling. And building 24, unit 24, they have a stucco cracks on the balcony and the bottom of the slabs. Unit 28, her patio, she has lower fence wall made of, I believe it's a CMU wall, but the sides that face unit 27, Bryant, it's not finished. And the stucco falls, and part of the wall is not, it seems like it's not finished. It needs to be finished. So
Alfredo, just a question, because you mentioned 27 and 28. This is Laura and John, and then you mentioned Brian. Isn't it 27 and 26?
no, only the ones that I mentioned. 29, unit 29 is a settlement crack on the side.
No,
instead
that I
of
understood.
wall. So he also have a shed and enclosed
understand.
patio that needs to be verified permits. Unit
Question
20
was not on,
have
but
a
the question was
small-
not on the
have a
29.
balcony, and unit 20A have a, like a stucco work on the side facing unit 27, which is, you can see on the pictures of
That's
the report.
John's.
That is, no, this is 20.
John and Laura.
That's
This is
Brian.
John and Laura.
Brian,
Brian is
because
26.
Brian is 26. That is what I'm saying. Is it 28 and 27 or 27 and 26?
I'm
Because
sorry,
28 is John.
27, exactly, 27. I made a mistake. Thank you for correcting.
Okay, 27 and 26, because that is,
26,
okay.
Brian, exactly. Building 4, unit 35 have a covered patio. And they need to have a verification for building permit. Unit 37, balcony enclosure verification needs to actually show the permit. Is that, I think that, that's been resolved, but those two are still pending, so we need to send in a letter. I already spoke with Elena, unit 35, and she told me that she hasn't have any information because that was a long time ago. And I was looking on her file to help her. And what I only found was an application for permit where they have some comments from the city that they require the condominium authorization. I know back then, perhaps they denied the access to do the building, to build out the structure, and no permit is found. So these 2 units are already on the report. And when the city comes, they're going to notice and they're going to ask for the permit. And until those permits are showing and done, so we're probably are not going to get the recertification. So these 2 needed to be studied and, commented right away for the unit owners to start moving and perhaps, working around the club to have that. We have 6 months, hopefully, from the city, and within that period of time, they need to start working and providing all the information that we need in order for us to submit it along with the report of the engineers and send it to the city officials.
As we have learned, though, permitting through the city does take a long time. So 6 months can go by very quickly. They definitely
I know,
need to
yeah,
start
definitely.
Immediately.
Yeah, so those letters needs to be sent especially and particularly to unit 29 and unit 35. Clubhouse, we have a concrete crack above the storefront in the south elevation, a minor crack in the one that's facing the pool.
Okay.
And that is on the report. So action plan. Carlos, our handyman, is scheduled to repair the thermal cracks where feasible, that is feasible on his scope of work. We know that we can actually, take care of that because it's a minor crack that you can actually, fix it with hydraulic stopper. So we can actually, do that. For the balconies on those units, we need to assess and we need to see if there's further damage or further losing material like unit 30, unit 41 that we fixed, like early this year, and find out if we can do it ourselves, fix all those cracks, because what I saw on the pictures are minor hairlines cracks, so that can easily be repaired. But we need to go there with a hammer and see if there's any, losing piece in order to clean everything. And if Carlos on his scope can do it, then we can actually, buy the materials and then he can, work on
It's a good first
thing.
step.
Yes, I know that unit 1, it's already being, remodeled, so perhaps this is already, taken care of. Unit 2, I believe there's something going on there as well. So that probably might be, so we're probably gonna focus on the other units.
And isn't 2 and 3 on top of each other?
No, it's the bottom, it's the underside of the slab on the
Um,
balconies.
okay.
That they have some hairline crack and then some stucco missings on the corner. So you
Yeah.
see it on the pictures of the report. So, okay, so the second action is we'll send a letter to the unit owners. And the third action is beside the unit permitting, we should have these minor deficiencies ready very soon. And we should wait until building 2 and 3 electrical lights are installed and working on the roof to call the engineer for the final inspection. Because we don't want to call in, many times. So we're gonna make sure that we take care of everything that is on the report, and then we bring it here because they're gonna charge us
Mhm.
again for the reinspection. And that is pretty much it for 50-year certification update. Hopefully, we're gonna have that extension by the end of next week.
Perfect. And thank you for sending that reminder to the engineer to send that letter. That was good.
I may need to leave during your next point. Just want to give you that heads up. I have to leave at 7:15, like I mentioned earlier.
Maintenance updates, that's,
Be recognized. This is Mark.
hello?
Robert, this is Mark. Can I be recognized?
Yes.
On the unit 1, our structural engineer found that crack that Alfredo's talking about. It's actually was repaired probably 20 years ago when our building was painted. It's a settlement crack, but when our structural engineer was designing our project, we ended up finding several hollow cells that were not filled properly. So in my revised plan to the city, I'm showing that structure's been redone, meaning steel's been added and they've been filled with structural concrete. Now, we haven't repaired the exterior stucco because that's a cost that I would have to incur, and it's the condo's crack. But from the structural standpoint, all the cells have been filled. What is my laundry room and also the end patio, that cell was completely hollow. It had the steel in it, but no concrete. So I think it's problematic probably in some other areas too, but certainly unit 1, the construction for the structure is probably what you're finding in buildings 2 and 3 with the hollow cells. But we repaired it because obviously our structural engineer wouldn't approve proceeding with enclosing the balcony without it. And then the last thing we did is we had our patio was upstairs was waterproofed. It was quite an expensive job to do the outside patio, which involved chipping all around the stucco, and there's a ton of leaks that other residents may experience because of the patios not being sealed if they previously had tile or other cracks. So it's a process where they actually go up 8 inches on the wall and they waterproof it, and then they fill it with water and make sure it doesn't leak. So that's been done. I still do have a leak that's in my master bedroom closet that's coming in from unit 2's balcony, unit 3's balcony. Haven't been able to isolate it, but I think it's from a railing penetration that maybe water's getting behind the cinder block, dropping down, and then coming in my master closet. So I'm not concerned about that as much as the other structural issues that we found, but maybe repairing that crack that Alfredo spoke about on the balcony might resolve the leak that's coming in, not from the roof, but from the floor of the master bedroom closet. And that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Maintenance update.
Okay, the maintenance, we changed the filter for the water contents at the gym, has been replaced. And however, the red button for the maintenance still on. Carlos reset the button a few times and still not working. We will call El Kai for service because it doesn't reset. But we have the picture, and I can show it to you guys that the filter is being changed. Pressure clean rear facades on building 4 at unit 37, 36, 34, and 33, and bedrock fill along the previous pathway on the rear of unit 37, because it has some issues there. That was done on August 31st. Back fences along building 1 has been painted and some loose wood plants reattached. That was done in September 7th. The planters along east side, guest parking in front of the clubhouse where the re-roofing was stored has been restored and mulched for much better appealing as a secondary entrance to the community. That was done on Sunday, September 8th. AC and pool heater buffer screen had a touch-up paint apply and have new seat ties to secure the attachment of the artificial green panels. On August 22nd, the fire alarm system, the new company, came back to the clubhouse and serviced and tested all the fire devices and show they are in good working condition. 2 batteries of the panels has been replaced and the UL certification is up to date. We have a scheduled service maintenance at the planters areas of the clubhouse for tomorrow, where we are replacing 11 pieces of the hedge because they are actually dying due to fungus. And also to take the debris of the irrigation system that never worked.
Yeah.
And so we need to take it out on the perimeters around the pool area. The contractor landscaping company will provide the materials and labor for this time. This is the company that actually was servicing while Ever is on leave. And the last day is going to be tomorrow. So next week, Ever is going to come back, hopefully.
Have you heard from him?
Yeah, I contacted him on Monday and I asked him, how I was doing, and he feels much better. And, he's looking forward to come back. So water usage, this is Pontaine.
I have to go. The only thing I wanted to mention was the unit, so what is that, 14? Not my neighbor, but the one on the other side, so the corner of my building, I can still hear that one little leak they have in the back deck for the water usage situation.
Okay,
So
well.
still,
You hear it.
you can hear it, yeah, 2 houses down. But I don't think they were one of the 2 units that were.
This is unit 13?
13.
Okay, well, unit 13, we actually find out that the overflow on the powder room toilet, it's not working. So the floater, it doesn't stop, and it's keep flowing. And I already, talked to them, and I actually have to send a letter to Kabbalah because they are tenants of Kabbalah, and then they need to actually fix the problem. So that was one of the things that we spoke. We still have the same high water usage, but now for unit 6, 13, and 25. Average household consumption is between 86 to 100 gallons per day. So unit 6 has consumed 285 gallons per
Thank you,
day.
Diana. Say that again, sorry.
9 gallons, unit 6 has consumed 285. So it's basically double from, standard consumption, and 9 gallons less from last month. Unit 13 has consumed 220 gallons per day, 63 less than last month. And unit 25 to 25th have 279 gallons consumed per day, 73 less from last month. That means that this is really important to address, because there's no one living in this unit. We went there, Carlos and I, we take pictures, and all the fixtures, the toilets are all in working condition. So I presume there's something going on with the pipe that it's on the dock. And I'm being actually having some tales about the drinking water of the units being forward due to the outside to the dock. So we need to understand that if this is the situation, we need to take measures of that, because I think that for unit 25, there's no reason for her to have this water consumption, whereas it's no one so occupy the units. Well, Carlos performed all the inspections on you, on those 3 units, so we have 1 unit less, which we couldn't actually enter because the schedule, not permit, because, they are always in Shabbat when Carlos is here, so Carlos cannot, take off from day work to come here, so tomorrow he's going to actually, give me some chance to stop by and check on unit 6, and after I find out what is happening with that unit, I will send a letter to Kabbalah in order to address unit 13 and perhaps unit 6 if I find something outstanding. Water submeters attached unit 23 and unit 28 has been replaced due to the malfunctioning of the reader. So we have, like the whole year reading the same number, so nobody was taking action, so that was the time that we
That's
needed
good.
to actually have something in order for us to understand, how much water they are consuming. So those were all replaced, all done, we are already working in good condition. That is
Excellent.
for number 10.
A lot of good work in there. Thank you, Alfredo. So that 9 and 10, we go to 11, noise complaint from building 1.
Yeah, I have a couple of complaints for unit owners regarding construction noise with the special equipment in building 1 that is being used after acceptable working hours as per City of North Miami Beach regulation. I pull out, just for the sake of reference, the ordinance of the City of North Miami Beach, and the Article B says that special equipment such as pile drivers, pneumatic hammers, and similar apparatus shall be unlawful for any person or business to engage in any building construction to perform any work in the hours between 5 p.m. and 7 a.m. weekdays, or between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. weekends, except by written permission by the city building inspector in case of an emergency.
5 p.m. to 7 a.m. or whatever. So
Yes,
basically
after 5 p.m., you cannot actually do any noise.
Okay,
on
and that's North
special
Miami
equipment,
Beach
North Miami
ordinance.
Beach, yeah, city ordinance. So there was,
And
couple
the complaints were saying that it was happening after 5
after,
p.m.
yes,
Okay,
yes, about 6:30,
okay.
6:30, and I have the message.
Yeah, that's well beyond that.
Yeah.
Do we,
And I believe
is
that,
it continuing still?
not so far, but I mean, this is something that we need to, address based on, like the comments and the complaints that we have been receiving. So I don't know.
So
how we
maybe
can address it.
a letter to the unit owner, highlighting Article V of North Miami Beach, that any work, however it was stated there, after 5 p.m. is not allowed.
It's not enough.
I think
Just to
that,
remind.
yeah, I think that's good. And then we can go and say, we heard your complaint, we acted on your complaint,
Exactly.
and we educate the owner, whoever that is
Yeah,
as
to
well.
close the loop.
Yeah. Okay,
Just the messengers.
yeah, right. Unit 30 non-compliance with board request to remove materials from outside of unit. We did ask about that. Did you have a further update or?
No, I'm just actually waiting for you guys because this is the second time and it's been so long. And I understand that there's some legal situations that we should not get into, but there is a self-explanatory email by the lawyer that we should put in practice. So the unit owner is being notified, and we have the right to remove anything that is in the front part of the entrance, which is no fence, and we can, like clean everything. Of course, if there's any cost involved, so we need to, charge to the unit owner
Yeah.
because it's been how many times that we.
Yeah. And I think where the owner, what the lawyer was saying was things on the patio fenced in, we
Anything
cannot
that is fenced,
touch,
yeah.
yeah.
But she should collaborate, and unit owners needs to be, like aware that they are living along other people that really needs to have
Yeah.
or have some other standards. So, I mean, I could care less because I'm actually, far away, but that is a problem that, unit owners around, doesn't want to stand, doesn't want to go, and they rely on us because we are supposed to be the grantors
Yeah.
of the peace and harmony and organization. So that's one of the things that we need to clearly understand.
So
here.
what we did so far, we did send a letter that was ignored, basically, right?
Yes.
Robert, I might have a recommendation that is in between something more drastic, but why don't we remove the front elements and we put it, for example, next to the clubhouse in that little thing that is our archive? And we wait for the reaction of the units, and then we don't throw anything out. We will just keep it there.
The empty boxes and put it here. So why we're gonna have a pile of boxes? Those are empty boxes. As far as I know,
Are
those
you sure? Are you sure that the boxes in front of the house,
empty boxes.
empty boxes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure, and I don't know if they are not only in the front, but on the back you have a ton of boxes, but I'm not sure if they are empty or not.
That is clear that we are not going to enter into
Yeah.
his fence area, and that's clear by the lawyer. But the front area, which is affecting most likely you and your other neighbors on building 3, I think that should be addressed accordingly.
Yeah, no, I agree, Alfredo. My only thing was I'm not sure what are or not inside of the boxes. So what I was trying to say is that why don't we go for a solution that we just take out the boxes, and then we notify, okay, we have taken the boxes, and then we send a letter, so we've taken the boxes. If you don't tell us anything, we're just gonna throw them away after 1 week or whatever. Because I don't know what is inside the boxes. I don't know if there are equipments, if they are electrodomestics, if they are only empty boxes. So
But-
I would say that is just a provocative from this unit.
A second letter to give it another chance because
No,
we.
no. I'm not sending a second letter to give another chance. We are taking action, which is removing the box. You're telling me that the box have nothing. I never touched the box. I never even got close to the box. I don't know if anybody did. So I was just trying to recommend something in between, destroying the boxes and just taking out the boxes, keeping them, sending a notification said in 7 days, if you're not collecting your boxes and putting inside of your home, we're going to destroy it. And by the way, in the letter, we might say, and by the way, if you put it once again in front of your home, we're going to destroy it anyway. So you have only one chance to get the boxes back is putting inside of your home.
And I have to.
That would be,
Go ahead.
that would be, I'm trying not to be provoked. I know we hadn't got any response from the unit owner, but just trying to be in the middle and trying to get a reasonable solution, because I think that would solve the problem without incurring. Imagine there's equipments there. I have no idea.
This is not a drastic measure. This is not retaliatory action. This is nothing that people here
Nobody's
can actually think of. We trying to create common courtesy because we as a neighbors, we need to actually care one another. And we need to actually make sure that all our fronts are in good condition. You know,
I
what
agree.
it get my attention that now it's becoming a trend to leave the trash outside and to leave all the garbage outside the entrance door. I've been seeing for so many times, but now I see it more every time that I actually go around the buildings. I see houses that leave the trash for whatever reason, for whatever culture. I think that this is discourteous to other people that hasn't, have the same.
Alfredo, we completely agree on the situation. I'm just trying.
Isolated from the entrance, but people that have contiguous, entrance that you actually have to deal with your neighbor, and your neighbor have the door, the garbage out. You need to smell that every time that you enter, and I don't think that this is nice. And I think that it's a common courtesy. And I tell you more, and this is something that I need to actually bring because it really frustrates me that we trying to do best we can to inform the community when the bulk trash is coming, that everybody must
And it's-
understand that it's on the third Thursday of every month. And we need to take this out the day before. I
I'm
think
glad
it's
you brought that up.
explanatory in 3 different language, Hebrew, English, Spanish, no Portuguese, but at least I make the effort, or we make the effort as association to communicate effectively what we need as a condominium, as an association. And it's this very disrespectful that Unit 41, my neighbor, took the launches of the pool for so many months in his house, and then I understand that he leave, go back and forth, but he was here for 2 months and he left. And the day before he left, he didn't even care. He didn't even check on the calendar. The calendar is already highlighted on yellow for the day that everybody will see. And it's right there in front of the trash. So they took the launches, and we actually have to wait until the third Thursday to actually empty on get the trash out. I think this is the on consider for Carlos, for the whole association, and
Everybody.
to actually
For
take.
everybody.
So we need to actually monitor, we need to actually make sure that whoever have the camera, it's monitoring, and we need to actually go with the fine, because, okay, we're doing a great job, we're trying to save, many things, but if we don't do implementation,
We know who it
we
is.
are not gonna do anything, and it's
So-
gonna be like,
We
So
know-
let me tell you, I
we know who it
completely
is for
agree.
sure.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
my neighbor, because I mean, like he took those launches and he took it on his patio, and then he threw it out because they were completely, like
Trash.
bad.
Alfred, I
But
completely
it's the
agree.
point
And
that you have the chance as a unit owner of this condominium, he needs to understand that there's some rules and at least cooperation, because people are making an effort to live decent, in a decency
Yeah,
level.
yeah.
So please don't do that, because it's really bad. As a unit owner, you enter and the first thing that you see is trash that is going to be there for very long time.
And I completely agree. And I would go even a step further. We already exchange emails with the attorney, understanding how can we set, and unfortunately cannot only be the carrot, sometimes it needs to be the fine. So I believe it will be time to set a conference call with the attorney. Said he was going to do it for free, to set the committee of the fines. And I agree that in that second case, we should start to notify an owner, and then we start to practice, because every time I go walking with my wife, etc., it's horrible. So at the end of the day, it affects everybody, not only Carlos, you, etc., affects everybody. So I'm 100% pro the fines. Regarding the first one, I think we should do a motion to do an action. For me, there are 2 possibilities. Or we remove the boxes and we keep these boxes, because once again, I don't know if there are something inside, or we remove the boxes and destroy it. In my personal opinion, this first action, which is just removing the boxes, at the beginning of the action would be more suitable, but I'm open to listen and to do a motion. So it's because I think there are 2. We shouldn't go out of this meeting without doing anything. So action 1, removing the boxes and keeping it for 1 week and notifying the owner and saying we're going to destroy it. Either if the person takes it back and then puts it in front, goes directly to trash, or the person doesn't say anything. The second option, we remove the boxes and throw it immediately in the garbage. My personal opinion, as member of the board, would be to do the first one. It's the first time we're going to do anything that I remember, since I'm in the neighborhood not a long time ago, that we're going to do something like that. I would start by an action more conservative, but we have 4 people in here. We just need 3 votes. So,
Right,
or
so Saturday, Carlos is coming, so he's gonna do some job, but I'm gonna ask him to remove the boxes. So for the sake of clarity and consensus, I can put it on inside of the room. If they're empty, sorry, we need to trust that.
Yeah,
If we have some valuables, so we can actually leave it there and wait until she respond. I hope it's not gonna be with a gun, but she need to actually reply, and she actually need to, be responsible and accountable for what he said, because we are not doing anything on purpose. We are doing everything.
Of course, I know. So
Then
do we
we
agree that
can-
for now we can remove the boxes and put it there in the clubhouse? We notify the owner with an
Okay.
email and say,
I
we agree
second
that?
Perfect. So Saturday, I will remove that and it will actually be on the corner of the trash, the dumpster. If there's no value, if it's boxes, sorry, they are gone.
Okay, and so you need to, okay. So you agree with that, Robert? And Diana, so you,
If they're empty,
Yeah.
completely empty, go ahead and toss. But if I don't want us to go sifting through the things that are in there. So if there's anything in there, we just keep it sealed, put it in the clubhouse. If they're completely empty and
No,
they're
no,
just
in the
sitting out there
dumpster, not in the house.
on the
no,
dumpster.
no. No, because in the dumpster, they will end up being carried out by the truck and going to the garbage.
No, they
So,
don't take anything that is not on the bin, for sure.
sorry?
They're not taking anything that is not in the bin.
I find it risky. Once again, my vote, so we have two
I'm
options.
okay with that because the boxes are already outside.
Yeah.
Okay, but now they're gonna be next to the garbage, and I believe that a more productive guy from the trash might throw them away. So what I would recommend, but guys, you are free. This is not a huge issue, but just vote. We have two options, or we keep it and inform by, it's just a simple email. Hey, unit owner, we took out your boxes, you have these boxes, or you come to collect it in 5 days and put it inside of your home, or we're gonna throw it away. And by the way, if you put it back on front of,
Before Saturday, if she doesn't take care of whatever valuable, we're gonna remove, and then we actually have a clear and peace of mind that we at least our and to make sure that she doesn't have this clutter in front of the.
So let me
but
clarify.
Rob, can we
I-
vote the two options? So I would vote for the option of keeping and informing. The other option is just removing and garbage. There are two options. Why don't we vote?
Yeah, but
for-
I mean, it's gonna proceed after
Well,
Robert sent the email to Lisa to inform that we're gonna take the action, immediately on Saturday.
Okay, but today's Wednesday, so you're gonna inform 2 days before that you're gonna remove it?
More than enough. I think it's 48 hours. So it's being informed before, it's being actually.
So let's do something. Why don't we inform that
How many months we have on this? I think that we have 2 months already.
I know, Alfredo, I know. Why don't we send an email saying,
Based on
let
what
me
you
just-
say, well, because we follow your advice and we actually asked the lawyer and we did this, and this is still keep going without no situation. It's the same thing with the.
guys,
Here-
my
here's what I'm
opinion, let
thinking.
me tell you, if we want to do it otherwise, which is sending an email and announcing that we're going to remove, I think that we need to announce it for next Saturday, not this Saturday. That would be my vote. I also agree that the notification might work well. I think 2 days is very short. I would send a notification for the next Saturday. Once again, I'm pro action. And that means that I'm pro 100% that we need to take measure. It's just a matter of how we are taking measure. I would prefer not to send something that we're going to do after 2 days. If the person reads it, it will read it only on Thursday. Right now, it's already, by the way, Thursday in Europe.
We can actually take that action next Saturday. As long as we take the action, it's all that.
Perfect. Okay, I agree with that.
Send an email at least this week, tonight, if it's possible, so she have enough time to be.
100%.
So the other thing that.
Second, that Saturday is the 21st of September. Who sends the email? Do you want to send the email as the secretary? You can send the email, or
No,
you send
I'll-
Robert.
It had to be Robert.
I'll send the email.
Okay,
And I'll send that either tonight or tomorrow.
21st of September. If the boxes are not removed, they're going to be directly destroyed.
Yes.
And I would reinforce also, because I know it's not the same thing, but even in windy days or hurricanes, the patio on the back, the one that gets to the dock, it's chaotic. So I would reinforce that we ask the person also to take care of the other side. Because I know we cannot do anything from what we heard because it's fence, but at the end of the day, it's risky for everybody.
That's
I'll,
that as well.
I'll draft something and
Yeah.
send it around.
Yeah,
So that we make sure we cover it all in one shot.
exactly.
No, good solution. I like it. Okay, that was the last one,
That was
wasn't
the
it?
last one.
It is 7:37. I called the meeting to an end. Thank you all for attending and participating. Joao, safe travels,
Thank you so much.
and
Good.
see you later.
See you. Thank you all. Bye-bye. Thank you.